Hey friends, welcome back to Ball Homestead. My name is Beverly and I'm so glad you're here. Today we're going to do some Thanksgiving things. Um, Wayne they're having potluck at work tomorrow and he is going to take some dressing, sweet potato casserole. So we're going to make those today. Southern dressing is super easy and super delicious. So I'm going to show you how to make it. In the Instapot here, I have cooked the chicken. We'll take that out in a little bit. All right, first we're going to get our cornbread going. For southern dressing, we need cornbread. So we're going to get that going, and we're going to start with some cornmeal, about half, I'd say maybe 2 cups. And we're going to do about 2 cups of self-rising flour. And I'm going to add a little bit of baking powder to this because my cornmeal is not self-rising. And I want it to be nice and fluffy. So let me grab a spoon here. Y'all have seen me make cornbread many times on here, and it's just the same thing. I mean, we're not making anything special, just a basic cornbread. I do add a little sugar, and we're going to add some of our farm fresh eggs here. Just a couple. And we need some milk. Dressing was so intimidating for me for years, and it is not hard at all. I love homemade southern dressing. More milk. I just kind of do it by feel, friends, like the consistency of the dough. And I love this Dutch dough hook. This is like my favorite thing for mixing things with. I'll link it in the description. I got it on Amazon. All right, now we're going to get this in a pan and get it in a 350-degree oven. All right, we're just going to pour this in our 9x13 baking pan. He's going to take this to work, so I want him to have enough. And I think a 9x13 will be about perfect. Now we're just going to get that in our oven, and then we're going to get started chopping our celery and onions for the dressing. All right, now we're going to chop our celery up. I'm going to go ahead and cook all of this celery because I'm going to be making dressing again probably Wednesday to put in the oven Thursday morning before we go to Mother's for Thanksgiving. So what I do is I chop it all, leaves and all. I saved my bacon drippings from breakfast this morning, and that's what we're going to fry all this in. So it'll give it a lovely flavor. And I got my celery on sale at Aldi's for 95 cents, which is a good deal. Everybody else was like $1.35 and $1.50. So every little bit counts. I just chop as much of this as I can down to the end. We want to use all of that flavor. All right. We're going to get our pan going over here. I'm just using my roaster pan. That's what I cooked the bacon in this morning. We're going to turn that on and get this celery in there. Okay. Now we're going to get to chopping our onions. And since we're making enough for later in the week, we're going to go ahead and chop all of our onions so that's done. That'll just save me time on Wednesday evening making my dressing to take to Mother's. So we're going to go ahead and get these going, peeled and chopped and ready for sauteing. I'm going to do 2 onions for that. One more here. Ooh. All right. I've got one left, so I'm just going to take it out and throw the rest of this away. I have plenty of vegetables in the freezer for broth, so I won't save them for that. Earlier this morning, I went ahead and put on the chicken. I put it in the Instapot to get it going, and it's some of that chicken we did on the cheap meal challenge. It's what we had left, and we're going to use that in our dressing. I'm just going to chop these onions up in small cubes and get them in with our celery. Dressing is super cheap to make too, friends. It does not cost much at all to make a big pan of chicken and dressing. And it feeds a lot of people. So, you know, that's something we like to have it every so often throughout the year. Not just at the holidays. Whew, that's a stout onion. It's getting my eyes all watery. All right, we're going to put this in with our celery. All right, we've got our onion sauteing, and we have our celery over there cooking in some bacon grease. I'm going to give them a little stir, and then we're going to get busy making our sweet potato casserole. This casserole is so delicious and so good with the pecan crumble topping. It's just heavenly. So we're going to get going on that. Here is our onion celery mixture. It smells fabulous. Something about bacon grease just always flavors everything up good. So we're going to use it to our advantage today and use it to saute our lovely vegetables here. They still like quite a bit cooking. I am going to turn them down just a hair. And now we're going to get going on our sweet potato casserole. All right, for our sweet potato casserole, we need 4 cups of sweet potatoes. I had a jar that didn't seal when I processed the other day, so we're going to use that along with one of our other jars. That's why I like to home can things, is because I don't have to take the time to peel those sweet potatoes today and get them ready for processing. We can just open a jar, drain them out, and put them in our bowl. And that saves so much time, friends. I'm going to say each jar probably has about 2 cups. We're going to go with that. And we are going to use up these 2 jars of potatoes. Okay. This is what I kind of call fast food on the homestead. My home canned goods. All right, we're just going to kind of mash these sweet potatoes up and make them kind of a mush. Don't take much with your home canned stuff either, because it really softens them. Now we're going to add 2 eggs. Always using our homegrown eggs. 2 eggs, a half to 3/4 cup of sugar. Looks about good to me. A teaspoon of vanilla and a half of a teaspoon of salt. Using our homemade vanilla. Just going to add a little salt and our vanilla here. All right. Now we need to cut up some butter in there. We're just going to pop this in the microwave. We need 3 tablespoons of butter. And I picked this up at Aldi's. They have it on sale this time of year. It's like $2.49 for 4 sticks. So I just went ahead and picked up 4 sticks because I knew I'd be baking and a lot, and I wouldn't have to measure out my butter as like I would my goat butter. Because I don't have sticks of goat butter, it's just however it's frozen. So this just makes it, where it's a correct amount. And I'm just going to pop that in the microwave for about 30 seconds. Well, maybe not even that, about 15 seconds. We're going to go ahead and stir this around. Okay. Now we're going to add our butter. I think Aldi's butter is like $2.49 this time of year, and that's a good deal for real butter. I made a little Aldi's trip the other day and bought all my candy making supplies for the season. Now we're going to spray our pan. We want to spray it well because this will stick. And put our sweet potatoes in this pan. Not that I make is expensive, friends. We have always lived pretty cheap, and we've always tried to grow our own food. We haven't had the scale that we have today, but even when the kids were growing up, we still had a small garden to supplement. All right, now we're going to make our topping for this sweet potato casserole. And for that, we need 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1/3 cup of flour, and 3 teaspoons of butter. So we're going to get the food processor out and do that up. Our vegetables are looking fabulous. We're going to let them cook a little bit longer though. I'm going to take a peek at the cornbread. It still likes quite a bit, so we're going to keep going on this sweet potato casserole. All right, for this topping, we need 1/3 cup of flour. I'm going to do this 1.5 times. I always feel like I never have quite enough topping for it. So I always make just a little bit extra so I have enough to sprinkle across the top. And now we're going to add some brown sugar. We need 1/2 cup, so we're going to add 3/4 cup. All right. And now we're going to add 5 teaspoons of butter, or 4.5. We're going to start with that and kind of see. You'll know because you don't want it. You don't want it runny. You want it crumbly. It's a nice crumble topping is what we're making. We're just going to turn this on. And add our butter 1 teaspoon at a time. While that's going over there, I am going to grab some walnuts for the top. All right, you see how it's got little crumbles in there? That's what we want. Now I'm just going to add a handful of walnuts. I usually use pecans, but walnuts are cheaper this year. Pecans are kind of high in our area. So I'm going to add just a handful of those, and we're just going to blend it for a second just to mix it around. That's it. I don't want them breaking up and all that. I just want a nice little blend on it. Now we're going to top our sweet potato casserole with this wonderful topping. All right, all we're going to do is sprinkle this over the top. And I may have way too much. I probably do, but oh well. Because we want a nice, good topping on it. Okay. Perfect. Now we're going to get that in the oven and get that to baking at 350 for about 30 minutes. All right, our chicken, I just got it out of the pressure cooker. It is piping hot, and we're going to pick the meat off of those bones. This is just some leg quarters we had left from that cheap and easy meals, and I wanted to get those used up. I'm going to get a little bowl out, and we'll put our meat in. We'll save all these bones and fat for the dog. She will love it. We have an Anatolian Shepherd. She is a good little guard dog for our livestock. We love Miss Lola. We're just going to pick all this meat off the bone. We had sisters, Ava and Lola, for a long time, and they fought all the time, so we rehomed Ava. This is piping hot, friends. You might want to let it cool. I'm just used to doing this. I just put me on a pair of gloves and go for it. I usually don't have time to wait at work, so I just get in there and get it done. You can also use breast meat for this. I've done that, but I usually use legs and thighs. That's a good, cheap alternative to make your dressing. We don't want any of that fat or anything in there. We want to get it all picked out. And this chicken is so tender, it's just falling to pieces. So that's good. This is another meal you could make cheaply throughout the year to save money, because making dressing is not expensive at all. And it's so delicious. So good. Onions and celery are done over there. I'm also whipping up a small batch of Spanish rice because my husband asked me to. So I'm doing that, but it's just packaged Spanish rice, nothing fancy. And I'm going to check the cornbread and see where we're at there. All right, I got my dressing pan out. This is just a roaster pan, but this is what I use every year to make my dressing in. And our cornbread's done. We're going to get it crumbled up and put in here. Also, I wanted to say you want to save all of your broth from your chicken because we're going to use that in our dressing also. I always add a little extra water so that I have plenty of broth for my dressing. All right, we're going to get this in here and get it crumbled up. This pan is piping hot, so let me grab a pot holder. Oh, that's stuck. I forgot to spray it. I can't remember. I'll have to soak that one. Definitely a soaker. We're just going to crumble that all up. Okay, we're going to throw our chicken in here. We're just going to kind of crumble it as we put it in. Crumble all that yummy chicken up. And now we're going to add our onion and celery mixture. Since I made extra We're just going to take about half of this and put it in our pan here. Okay. Another thing I like to add to my dressing is cream of chicken soup. Well, remember that homemade cream of soup we made? We're going to add or make that for our dressing. So we need 2/3 cup of water here and a chicken bouillon cube. So we're going to get that boiling, then we're going to add 3 tablespoons of our homemade mix to this to make our soup. Something about this always makes my dressing super moist and yummy, and I believe my mother is the one that does this. And I have just always done it, and I love the flavor of it. So in here we're putting our chicken bouillon cube, and we're going to get that water boiling, and then we are going to add our 3 tablespoons of our homemade cream of soup mix. Get that cooking over here. This is just some store-bought boxed Spanish rice. Add a little slap your mamas to it. Alright, we're going to get this little thing here, the little bouillon cube, broken up. And then we're going to add our 3 tablespoons of our mix. And then we'll have our canned cream of soup. Put this over here. And whisk it in. All right. Just gonna mix that together. Looky there, it's already thickening up. Get that mixed well, and then we're gonna pour it in there with our dressing. That's perfect. Friends, it smells so good. Just get that mixed in, and we're gonna add this to our dressing. Something about cream of soups always makes your dressing more moist. Now we're going to add poultry seasoning. This is what I use. Some people use sage. I use a healthy amount here, and we're going to put that on top. And then we're going to get our measuring cup here, and we're going to put some of our broth that we saved from cooking our chicken in there. I'm going to do about 3 cups worth. Then we're going to mix all this well. It smells fabulous. Looks about perfect. I'm going to give it a taste test and see if it needs any more poultry season or any salt or anything like that. All right, we're going to give it a taste here. It smells wonderful. So good. I think we're good. I'm not going to do anything else to it. You can taste a hint of bacon in that from cooking those vegetables in the bacon grease. So good, friends. So good. What Thanksgiving meal wouldn't be complete without yummy dessert? So we're going to throw together a quick pie that I make that's always a big hit. It's a fudge pie. It is so easy and so delicious. So we're going to get going on that now. For our pie, we need 2 eggs. Just so happens I have 2 more left out here. A teaspoon of vanilla. half, or no, let's see here, a cup of sugar, a third of a cup of cocoa. Okay, 1/3 cocoa, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/2 cup of butter. So 1 stick of butter. And we're going to melt this in the microwave. Okay, now we're going to add a 1/2 cup of walnuts. We're just going to kind of guess at this. Well, Aldi's has the best prices on nuts also. I looked the other day and they are wonderful on their prices. I think I give like 2 something for the walnuts, which I was trying to be very frugal in my shopping with the prices of everything being so high. All right, there's our butter. Let me get our whisk here. And I'll whisk all this together. Put our butter in. Now we need a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. We're going to mix that in and get it in our pie shell. I have a 1/2 cup measure here, so we're going to pop that in. All right, we're going to mix or put this in our pie shell and get it in the oven at 350 for 25 to 30 minutes. And each recipe of this makes 1 pie. All right, ready for the oven. I decided to go ahead and make up some chicken gravy to go with the dressing. Some people like that over the top, and this is some of our homemade chicken gravy. We're just going to get our water boiling there. And we're going to add in, I didn't really measure my water, so we're just going to add in about 3 tablespoons of this and mix it in good and go from there. We may need to add more, and that's okay. We do need to add more. We're going to actually just add the rest of that because this is a small container, and mix all that in. Yeah, that's perfect. You can flip that off and give it a taste. That literally took minutes. We made these gravy mixes up on another episode. I'll link that in the description. Look how beautiful and thick that gravy is. We're going to give it a taste, make sure it doesn't need anything. Okay, we're going to give it a taste test here. Oh, that's good. Very good. We'll just get that in a container, and they can put it over the top of their dressing if they want. Or potatoes. I'm sure someone's bringing potatoes. They're having a potluck tomorrow. So now we're going to get our sweet potato casserole out. It is done, and we're going to get our pie in the oven. Actually, we're going to let it go for a few more minutes. Our dressing, though, is done. Yeah. We don't want it too dry. Look at this gorgeous dressing. It smells fabulous. We got our beautiful chicken gravy here that we made homemade. I'm going to share that link to that YouTube video that we made all these mixes for our cream of soup, and our chicken gravy. Now we're going to get our pie in the oven, and we'll be back in about 30 minutes to show you our wonderful stuff for Wayne to take to work tomorrow. Look at our gorgeous dressing, our wonderful looking sweet potato casserole, our chicken gravy, and last but not least, our yummy fudge pie. Thank you for stopping back by our homestead. I hope these recipes help you this holiday season. Until next time, friends, goodbye.